Well, just like everything else today, ladies and gentlemen, the Women's World Cup couldn't commence without there being a huge political talking point. It seems like to me some people are just incapable of just playing the sport and not putting their identity in the headlines. This time we have a Canadian football player that goes by the name of Quinn, leaving people scratching their heads because they are the first transgender non-binary football player to play at a FIFA World Cup. Now when you hear that, just like me, right when I first read it, I thought, wait, hold on, we've got a man playing in the women's team in the Women's World Cup. It wouldn't surprise me at this point, but no, they're actually a woman. So I'm going to assume, and again, I know we're not allowed to do that, but I'm going to assume they want to be male, which doesn't really make sense because why would they want to play in the women's team? Oh, they're non-binary as well. So they just change when it suits them. How did we get here? Help me. But Piers Morgan, the ultimate opportunist, has already held a debate on his show. He had a panel discussing this situation, and as always, it's a very fiery debate because, as always, you got the progressive individuals who are championing this as the most stunning, brave thing, and it's making history. It's also tiresome, right? But I've only seen the beginning of this video and it already looks like a hilarious watch, so we're going to sit down and react to it. But before we carry on, if you could, make sure to leave a like rating as it really helps out the video. Hit that big red subscribe button and turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video. Share this video, but nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, let's react to the madness, shall we? It's going to be a good one.
In the Women's World Cup, it's called the Women's World Cup. We have a new superstar, the Canada midfielder Quinn, goes by the name Quinn. Wasn't the name that Quinn was born with, but Quinn has been heralded, celebrated this week as the first transgender non-binary footballer to play in the Women's World Cup. To which my response when I read this was, hang on a second, hang on. Is she they, whatever, is she?
Just like everybody else, right? When they first heard this, we all thought the same thing, but no.
A biological male? No, it turned out she's a biological female.
Not she, so.
So what is she?
Well, whatever they'd like to go. Let's go.
Well, hang on.
Just
to be clear.
I think, Quinn.
I haven't asked a
they
question.
and Quinn.
I haven't asked a question yet. She is a transgender non-binary. What is that?
Well,
how can you be transgender and non-binary?
Because that's what they are.
That's always the response, isn't it? And that's how we've reached this point in the world. Well, that's just what they are. If they say they are this, that just means they are that. If they say they're this tripod that sat next to me, well, simply, they are just that tripod, and we must respect it. It's making history, apparently, ladies and gentlemen. This is the history we make in 2023.
Binary meant you were neither one nor the other.
What Quinn also is an Olympic medalist.
Hang on, sorry. I thought transgender meant you literally...
Okay.
Male to female, female to male. Turns out that non-binary is not the same as transgender, or it is.
I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I would say that's probably because they're not allowed to take the correct amount of testosterone because they are still playing in the women's team. And so I would assume they are saying they're non-binary.
Testosterone.
No,
doesn't want to
exactly,
be
that's what I'm saying. So
Quinn doesn't want to be male.
Because Quinn can't compete.
Quinn is a female playing against females, but now doesn't...
Wait, so she doesn't want to be a male? See, I make these videos daily, and this is confusing me.
You want to identify
because
as a woman.
You won't let her play on the male team.
No, you're not
on the male team.
Wait, Piers won't let her play on the male team? I don't think it's Piers, my darling. I think it's common sense.
That's the point. She doesn't want to play on the male team. But she's not actually
Quinn might like to do that.
No, Quinn wants to be an ex-woman, Alex. Hang on, Paula. No.
Who's upset
Paula,
about this?
Stop being mean by interrupting. I'm coming to Alex. I just want to get my head around this. She's a transgender, non-binary ex-woman. So my question is, if you're no longer identifying as a woman, what are you doing playing in the Women's World Cup? Not my title. That is the official title of a tournament. She doesn't qualify. They don't qualify, even though there's only one of them. They don't qualify for the Women's World Cup because they used to be a woman, but now they don't want to be a woman. So now we have to call them they for being a transgender, even though they're non-binary. And they're still playing in the Women's World Cup, and we're all supposed to go, well done, Quinn, what a moment! What a moment! But no one's quite sure what we're celebrating.
The fact that we clap for things like this is just the most bizarre thing. You know, we used to clap for achievements back in the day. You know, somebody did actually something stunning and brave. We used to clap for them. This is the standard of stunning and brave, being transgender and non-binary in the very same sense.
Rules change all the time. It's like we're bestowing upon people who have gender dysphoria some sort of magical, extra special power that normal people don't have. And I don't care, frankly, how many goals have they scored? You know, that's more interesting if you're a professional.
Paula, why is someone who doesn't consider themselves a woman in the Women's World Cup? Explain to me.
Because where else are they going to be able to?
In a trans or non-binary tournament?
I don't.
Wow, Piers coming out with some common sense. I'm surprised he's allowed to say that on his show.
Don't see one, and I certainly don't.
I keep being told there are millions. I keep being told there are millions of trans people now around the world. Great, have your own tournament.
So, Piers, if you and I want to set one up, then I'm all for that.
Swimming, you've just done it today.
Fantastic. So why don't we do that?
Great.
So instead of being
so
angry,
you accept they shouldn't be competing?
No.
The reason why they wouldn't do it and make it a worldwide thing is because these people literally want to compete with the women. Okay, they don't want to be in their own categories, they don't want to be in their own tournaments, they'd rather compete with the women because they need their identities validated. If you put them in their own categories, their own tournaments, to them that's saying, well, I'm not actually a woman like I'm saying a woman. They need to be with the identity that they're claiming to be, so they get this self-validation. That's all it is.
No, I do not accept that. No, I do not accept that. You asked me, what options did this person have? None was my answer. None.
Yes.
No options did this person have to perform on their world stage.
Look at your mournful little faces. You both know this is such...
No, you want to be angry people.
Look at your faces.
What you need to do...
Why are you not angry? Why are you not angry to protect...
and applaud.
Why don't you want to protect women? Why is it always left to me to protect
women? But women are protected.
They're not.
This person has gone and they've won an Olympic medal and now they are playing successfully.
Doesn't want to be a woman.
I don't see what the problem is.
Doesn't want to be a woman. Hates the idea of being a woman.
It wouldn't be a problem, right, if they just kept it to themselves, but no, we have to make it a huge thing in the headlines and everybody has to come forward like it's this huge moment, and now it's classified as making history. If Quinn doesn't want to be a woman, and if we're supposed to take that seriously as like everything else with everything else, then should they be competing in the women's team? Now, I don't know how the non-binary situation plays into that, as I said. Does that mean they can just pick and choose when they're a male, when they're a female? This is all getting very confusing. You probably watching right now are as confused as I.
I don't know about hatred.
Their stuff to themselves.
Yes!
Do you know what I mean? My understanding is they've not had any sort of testosterone, so there's no biological.
No, she's a
so carry on playing in the sport.
Yes,
I don't care.
Just stop telling us all about your great move to be a transgender, non-binary, whatever. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Boss of NatWest, Alison Rose, has now admitted in this Nigel Farage Coots bank fiasco a serious error of judgment. Turns out she admits she sat next to the top BBC journalist. The night before, the BBC journalist tweets the real story about Nigel Farage is that actually it wasn't to do with his political views that he was removed from a Coots account. It was because of his financial situation. Turns out to be a total lie, because Nigel Farage got under the data rules. He got all the minutes from the meeting where it was clearly his political views.
Right, so Piers Morgan, I didn't know he was actually going to do this, but we might as well react to it. So for those of you that don't know about the situation, get caught up to date with it. As he just said, Nigel Farage had his bank account closed by Coots, the NatWest own Coots, and it all came out as it was this financial situation. The CEO spoke to the BBC apparently and told them it was because of all this financial stuff, when really at the core of it, it was because of his political opinions, right? And again, what we're seeing, because it's all come out that this CEO lied to everybody and now she's lost her job. I don't know if Piers will go on to talk about that. People are saying she is now the victim. That's how much they don't like right-wing people. That's how much leftist progressives hate people, okay? Because as soon as it's somebody they don't like, it's, yeah, this is great, this is amazing, this is wonderful. If it was the other way around, which it is going to happen on the other side, they wouldn't be screaming and shouting from the rooftops like it's an amazing thing, would they?
You're on this politically. Makes no difference to me. I've got no truck to support Farage at all. He's tried to stiff me over Donald Trump, as I've said, and he's got a lot of pain coming his way for that. So that's a different feud rumbling away. However, on this, I'm a Coots account holder. I rang Coots today and I said, right, come on, have you got one of these on me? And I was told I'm not a politically whatever it is person, so they haven't, they assured me. But they've had a lot of calls from clients asking, am I next for this, right? What have you got on me? Is it my political views? What are you holding on me? This is not right in a democracy like this, that people's political opinion.
I'm interested to see what this lady is going to say about this. If I'm not a betting man, but if I was to bet, she's probably going to be very happy that Nigel Farage has had his bank account closed.
Lead to them having their bank account cancelled. It's just not.
OK, can we make one thing crystal clear, which is that Coutts is a very selective bank. So, Nigel Farage was offered a bank account with NatWest.
Not with Coutts.
He wasn't going to be just thrown out. I mean, I can't go and get a bank account with Coutts. They are very selective. But however, her briefing, the CEO briefing, the BBC business journalist, is absolutely
she has to go, doesn't she?
Extraordinary. I mean, to me, I can't understand how you can talk about someone's financial matters.
Totally agree.
I don't understand that.
Whoa. It seems like they're leaning on the side of this is a really bad thing to be going on within the UK. I didn't expect that one. I'll hold my hands up and say I didn't expect that one.
On that alone, it's just a massive breach of his privacy.
And I have to say, and it's on the record now, you called it last week, Piers, when we discussed this. You did.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right to have said what you did last week, because it's just uncomfortable whichever way you look at it.
Completely wrong. Whether it's somebody in the street or Nigel Farage or the Queen. I mean, the Queen used to bank
someone in the street, though. Let's talk about this in proportion. Because
No. I read through every word of their meeting, and Alex, the truth is, you know Nigel well, the truth is there was nothing in there other than apparently he knew Donald Trump. He liked Novak Djokovic's tweet. I mean, the whole thing was ridiculous.
But I mean, it's a personal vendetta, isn't it? And
yeah, it's because these woke activists have now made their ways into the bank, and that lady, the other blonde lady, said it's not going to be like the normal, the average person. It will be the normal and average person. It will come a time when there are going to be situations where somebody says something controversial on social media, just a simple tweet, and they may have their bank account closed, account frozen. To me, it seems like the new tone that is going to be set within the UK in the future, and it is a very scary one.
The problem, and what we've actually found out since Nigel told the world about this story, is this is happening to countless normal people.
Exactly.
And it's really quite dystopian. It's worrying. It's like the Chinese social credit system. Believe what we believe, or you can't have access to
Also, you've got to trust your bank, right? How can somebody who runs one of the biggest banks in the country brief to a journalist inaccurate, smearing information?
And that tiny little thing there, can we just correct something, which is that the reason that some people are being turned away from banks now is because they want to deal in cash, and banks no longer want to deal in cash. That is entirely different from political views. We've got two different stories here that are getting a little bit...
That's a different issue.
No, but if we're going to say that, we should clarify.
The clear issue here is if you have certain opinions, it should not be down to a bank to decide your opinions don't suit their values. It's nonsense. Because by the way, his views are shared by about 16.5 million people.
Yeah, Farage's views aren't like this extreme thing. There are many, many people who share the same opinions as Nigel Farage. So again, if they can do that to Nigel Farage just because he likes Donald Trump, he likes Novak Djokovic, he has certain views on LGBT rights, etc., etc., that can happen to the normal person.
To be fair, I do get to choose who I bank with. So, for example, I'm aware of one bank, and I think it's the Cooperative Bank, if they still do, that were very clear and ran an advertising campaign about how they would invest your money in environmentally friendly, for example, projects. That's a good thing, and I can choose whether I want to bank with the Co-op or not. They should also have the opportunity to decide whether they want me as a customer.
Hold on, when this is on the other foot, and a bakery in Ireland says, I don't want to bake a gay wedding cake.
All hell broke loose.
Suddenly all hell breaks loose.
We are talking about... if we're talking about race, if Coutts
by the way, this has happened to Jeremy Corbyn. Just imagine what would have happened.
If Coutts had said, I don't want to bank with you because you're white, or I don't want to bank, or you to bank with us because you're gay, then of course we're having a different conversation. They're not having... You cannot compare what Coutts did to that case.
All right. Are we all agreed, though, that this boss should probably not be in her job?
Yeah, she should shuffle off
It's definitely a grievance issue.
Well, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't think that video would go for as long as it did. I didn't think they would move on to other topics, so I do apologise. I'll put chapters in within this video. But to summarise, we have a non-binary transgender player making headlines in the Women's World Cup because it's the most stunning and brave thing to do these days. If you want recognition in the world, you want to be in the headlines, you want people clapping, cheering you across the world, just come out as something else that you're not. They also spoke about the Nigel Farage situation. A political figure had his bank closed because of his political opinions. People on the left, progressives, still, not these women on the panel, but still are saying, well, this is well-deserved. We don't like Nigel Farage. And they're saying that the CEO, who has now stepped down, is the victim in this. the government has pushed her to stand down. This is absolutely unfair. Yet, as Piers Morgan said, if this was Jeremy Corbyn or, I don't know, Keir Starmer, the reaction would be totally different. I hope you have enjoyed today's video. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like this sort of format where we sit down and react to videos, let me know in the comments below. I have said before, I don't really like to do it too often because I like to put more effort in the videos that I make, but let me know in the comments below. If you have enjoyed today, once again, leave a like rating. If you're new, hit that big red subscribe button and turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video. Share this video, but until tomorrow, it has been your boy JD. Have a great day, stay safe, and I'm out. Peace.